Good morning and welcome to the NBA Daily, presented by Amazon Prime for March 2nd, 2026. I'm Dave DuFour here with Zena Keita and Baraheni. Coming up, 6 weeks left in the regular season. We're going to check in on the playoff races in the Western Conference, in the Eastern Conference, after a weekend of big games. Good morning, everybody. What's up, guys? I'm happy to be back.
Yeah,
how are you guys?
After you just did that intro, I'm happy you're back too. My God.
Amen,
I struggle through those things.
I agree. Yeah.
Hey, I just got to say first, off the top, thank you guys for doing such a great job piloting the ship last week. I didn't watch any basketball games. It was great, but I still know what was happening in the league because I listen to the show every morning.
There you go.
I had to do it.
Nice.
It's part of the job. But also, man, you guys were great. It was a lot of fun. Law Murray talking about power rankings.
Oh, yeah.
Accompanied me on a very nice hike. And I was like very intrigued by his entire process. So if you're listening or if you're watching on YouTube, great time to like, subscribe, leave a 5-star review because it was on my mind. I don't think I'm allowed to do it ethically. It's kind of like voting for yourself. It's a little bit lame. So, if a few hundred people were to do that, that'd be fantastic.
There you go.
Anyway, guys.
Casually 100.
So my first weekend back, and we get marquee matchups
Incredible
all weekend
games.
long. I mean, it started Friday where we had shorthanded Cavs. Sure. Got a great game with Cavs and Pistons. I mean, the Rockets losing to the Heat is going to come up. But I thought that after all these big games and looking ahead at the schedule, we only have 6 weeks left until we get to the playoffs. It's all about the playoffs right now. So thought it was a good time to check in on where we're at. And as we're recording, look, the Oklahoma City Thunder are sitting exactly where they've been in the Western Conference. They're at number one. They've been there all year. And, the Spurs just had this 11-game win streak. So they were hot on their heels until they ran into the Knicks, which seems like the Knicks are the one team that's giving the Spurs some trouble right now this season, guys.
Which is so strange, just considering the matchup and what the Knicks have allowed all season in terms of paint points. And the Spurs are really good at getting into the paint. Now, do we think that Wembanyama could probably do more scoring in the paint? Absolutely. We always believe that. But yeah, it just feels like the Knicks turn up the physicality when they go up against the Spurs. Would you say that, S?
Yeah, I think so. And I also thought the Knicks did a really good job of scoring in the paint against the Spurs, which is something a lot of teams have struggled to do against Victor Wembanyama and the Spurs. One of it is the Spurs have such a great point of attack defense with their kind of three-headed monster, if you will. But at the same time, they have that backline defense of Victor Wembanyama that just cleans up everything that they do. So the fact that the Knicks were able to score in the paint, to your point, shows a level of physicality. And also, I think, the Spurs played really good basketball in February. And a lot of that was, I think, in part because their three-point shooting was awesome.
Yeah.
In February, they were 7th in three-point percentage all month. And tonight they shot, against the Knicks, they shot 26%. The three-point shot wasn't falling. And I think that really hurt their offensive scheme against a Knicks team that obviously can shoot the ball well.
Yeah, they only put up 89 points, 41 points in the first half.
And they had 22 turnovers, which provided New York 24 points. I mean, that run at the end of the first quarter, they went 19 straight points, I believe. I mean, these were crazy runs that New York was allowed to go on. And that is unheard of typically, that the Spurs aren't able to respond. That's actually kind of been their calling card all season. So the Knicks were just able to capitalize on the fact that the Spurs kind of, after leading early, were not able to bounce back from the punches.
Yeah, they had a 12-point lead to start, and I thought we were going to be talking about a blowout the other way.
Right.
But I also think, look, it was like a 1 o'clock Eastern start at MSG.
That's a trap for all road teams.
On a Sunday. And these guys, I don't know if they were out, but...
Fourth game in a 5-game Spurs road trip.
Yeah.
So they were going to have a dud at some point. I mean, every team does on the road, but it's something to watch that the Knicks have kind of figured some stuff out there. And we'll talk about them in the second half of the show when we get to the East. I mentioned the Rockets blowing this game to the Heat. Well, it was a bad time to do it because the Wolves have been playing so well. They're 6-1 in their last 7. They're now basically a dead tie with the Rockets kind of having the win percentage advantage in the playoff race. So right now the Rockets are the 3 seed, but the Wolves are ascending. I mean, we talked about this a little bit before I went on vacation. that the Wolves are the team to me that they just need to get serious. They seem like they just want to fast forward to the playoffs. And then we watch them play these big games like they played against the Nuggets on Sunday. And they come out swinging.
I think, man, like the Timberwolves have the Nuggets number. Like there is so much overwhelming evidence over the last few seasons that this Timberwolves team, no matter the situation, no matter the context of the game, just knows how to play against Nikola Jokic.
Sure.
Like Jokic tonight had 5 turnovers, and that's like a rarity for a guy who passes as well he does. Obviously, an all-time playmaker in Nikola Jokic who can create basically everything. Now, for what it's worth,
he was plus points, 4 in the game too, by the way.
Rebounds, 9 assists, plus 4. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but they're winning the Jokic minutes. It's when he's not out there. And Zena, look, they need health. This team, they need health and to fast forward to the playoffs. I will say that. I think Jokic probably will maybe at least attempt to play some defense, but no Gordon, no Peyton Watson. Correct. That's their problem.
And when those two are out, you have Jokic basically playing without defense around him. You don't have this like infrastructure to kind of protect and insulate him. And that hurts, especially when you have a team like Minnesota who can run the ball. I mean, Minnesota, I think, had 30 fast break points tonight to Denver 6. Like, it was a game where pace and transition and whoever was leading that and owning that won this game outright. And Minnesota completely broke. Ooh, I don't know if I want to say that. I was going to say broke their back, but that's what happened.
I mean, it felt like it. And look, transition defense is something the Nuggets have struggled with. I mean, we'll talk about it with that OKC game in fourth quarter execution because defensively they struggle to guard in clutch time too. But I want to bring up a stat when it comes to Aaron Gordon because I think you guys are right on the money. So in the 640 minutes that Aaron Gordon has played this season for the Nuggets are plus 13.8. They have a plus 13.8 net rating. In the 500 minutes he hasn't played, they are -5. So it's basically the difference. It's a 20-point swing.
Right.
That's an all-star level player, right? That's Nikola Jokic on many, many years for the Nuggets was a 20-plus point swing for them. So I just think he's massive for this team, as is Peyton Watson. It's their 2 best wing defenders. Without those 2 guys who also provide a level of 3-point shooting, by the way.
I was going to say that was their big problem in the game. And they were 6 of 22, and both of those numbers are problems for them. The 6 and the 22. You just can't do that against a team like Minnesota that you know is just going to. I mean, Dante DiVincenzo had a run there where he's just bombing away. And I think that the
Rudy
Nuggets
felt comfortable enough to put up a 3. Okay, come on now.
All right, now
I know it was at the end of the shot clock, but still.
Never, ever. Even then, wait, just take it. Just take the shot clock. Can I ask
you guys a question here? So there's been a lot of like Nuggets skepticism recently, and I think that's valid just because they've struggled. But do you guys feel any skepticism heading into the playoffs for them?
Look, I know that this might counterindicate some of the stuff I've said in the group chat. I'm holding on to my Nugget stock. Like, I think that this is to quote my buddy John Wilmus, who writes for Real GM. He texted me, this is a sort of a more senior investor's stock. You have to ignore what you're watching right now. You just, for the next few weeks until they're healthy and start rolling, I just think that we have to maybe look the other way. But I don't know.
I'm with you, actually, Dave. I like that. The senior investment stock, it's like, one, you've seen it perform over the course of time.
Right.
And you also know that there are factors beyond its control that's impacting the legitimacy the consistency of the stock's number. So just like until things settle down, the market eases out, health comes back, like things will be fine.
Too much stock market talk, guys. No way. None definitely. Of this, man. Yeah.
Oh, okay. And let's see. The Lakers, unserious. That's the top 6 in the West. The Lakers just continue to sort of, I would say their losses are so embarrassingly weird. Right? Like there's an effort issue sometimes. There's an execution issue sometimes. And when they win, you're just like, wow, okay, so you see, this does work when all these guys are trying hard. I just don't know how to take them outside of not seriously. I don't think that they could beat. I mean, you look right now, it would be 6-3 would be Houston and the Lakers. Okay. I got my questions about the Rockets, right?
That's an interesting one.
But that's the only one in the top 6. And I don't think that the Rockets are going to be the 3 seed when we get playoff time. I just don't think the Lakers are going to luck into that. And, this is if the Suns don't get healthy. I know, Dylan Brooks being hurt, that's going to be a big blow for them. But, if Booker comes back and can play at all, I mean, they still have a chance to get out of the play-in. So I just don't know. I don't know that the Lakers should be taken seriously at this point.
I don't know if the Lakers take themselves seriously at this point. I don't think the front office made any sort of massive move at the deadline to say, we believe in this Lakers team. Luke Kennard wasn't walking in that door and changing everything for them. They kind of are who they are. And I ultimately, my biggest question is how are they going to find a way for the Luka, Austin, LeBron trio to work? Because they've been losing their minutes.
Right.
And ultimately the DeAndre Ayton situation has not worked.
No.
So
or the Clint Capella situation. Just joking.
Yeah.
They wish it was Clint Capella.
They wish it was Clint Capella.
Exactly.
Hey, listen, this is a funny conversation, but who has had a better career, Clint Capella or DeAndre Ayton?
Oh, by far, Clint Capella.
Okay. All right. Thank you. We're all on the same page.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, absolutely. No,
but that's the bar is on the floor at this point for what they require from some of their role players. Like when you're trusting Jared Vanderbilt and Marcus Smart to take and make shots for you, I just don't know how far you're going to go as a team, especially in this Western Conference.
Yeah, I mean, I agreed. And my issue with the Lakers is they are, and there's a few teams like this in the West where it's like you've got some talent, you don't consistently show it, right? Like you're a team that, as a whole, as a collective group, are probably more talented than some of the teams in the Eastern Conference, but you're just not consistent in the way that you utilize and tap into that talent. And I think if there's any team in the Western Conference that is so loud about it, it is the Lakers. The Warriors are like that, but they also have some health issues that kind of deplete some of that collective talent stock, if you would want to put it. But the Lakers have all of the talent and they have all the capacity. It's just a matter of being able to utilize it. I look at the Warriors game that they had. They blow out the Warriors. Awesome. Great. You show up for the marquee game in the way that you did not against the Boston Celtics the other day.
Right.
But the Warriors are scoring on you because you're falling asleep on defense.
Yeah.
That's when they find little holes. They couldn't do anything, but they could backdoor cut. Gary Payton II can get into the middle of your zone. What?
Okay, that is a guy that you're not that worried about, to be fair.
But I'm just saying, he's still, but that is the mark. That is the scouting report.
That's the issue.
That is the issue. Gary Payton II, all he does is lurk in the back line of zones. That's all he does. And you've got massive people back there not able to stop him from ducking in, getting a pass. All of these things have to conspire, right? He has to get to the right spot on the floor. A pass has to get through the length of the Lakers, and then he has to finish at the basket.
Yeah.
And all of that is happening with the Lakers wide awake.
It's an
effort. JJ Redick sent this rant to Zena and was like, "Hey, Zena, throw this on the show." Hey, look, before we go to break, don't think I don't want to talk about Lou Dort and Nikola Jokic. Okay, look, we got OKC Denver on Friday night. This was an absurd game that was physical from the jump. I mean, I don't know how many times I've seen Shea react the way that he did.
And Jokic react to Shea in those moments too.
Feels like there's some bad blood maybe left over from that 7-game series. But also, I think the Thunder, if you play a 7-game series against a team that is this physical, there is no way you're going to like them at the end of it. And I think that this, man, we got to get this in the conference finals. I am rooting so hard for this.
By the way, can we all agree Lou Dort absolutely tripped him?
Yeah, it was a dirty play. Play. I don't think there was any doubt.
It was intentional.
Now, whether it should have been a flagrant 2, I don't know. I think if you do something that's not a basketball move to unintentionally do anything, or to intentionally trip someone, get out.
Yeah.
Especially, look, it's Lou Dort. It's not like Shea did it. Maybe there's shades of gray if you're a really good, fun player, but Lou Dort, sorry, man, you're just not to the level.
Yeah.
Shea coming back in that game, I think, added another level of competitiveness from the Nuggets. You know what I mean? Not that the Nuggets weren't going to take this game seriously. I do think that they get up at this point for teams they get up for the Timberwolves, they get up for the Thunder. But the Shea return added an extra amount of juice for these guys. I don't know. It felt old school.
It was also wildly impressive that OKC still pulled out the win when Shea didn't play in overtime. And it was Casey Wallace and Alex Caruso and Chet Holmgren, those three that led the way in overtime. And like, I think that goes to, Andrew and I spoke about it last week, but the growth of Cason Wallace, right? The ability of Alex Caruso to come in and make multiple game-winning defensive plays and game-winning shots. Like, it's just the combination of those two guys at the point of attack is an embarrassment of riches for OKC. That just it makes them elite, man. And on the other side, like, Denver's defense in the clutch is terrible. Like, they're 29th in defense in clutch situations, 29th in defense in fourth quarter situations. I feel like that's an Aaron Gordon thing, but at the same time, it's something you have to flag moving into April, Yeah.
1,000%.
All right, guys, stick around. After the break, we'll go to the Eastern Conference and figure out if the Hornets are going to make the playoffs. Yeah, I spent a lot of Cavs Pistons Friday night thinking that the Pistons were about to lose to the Cavs without Donovan Mitchell and James Harden. And I was going to say, oh, guys, got to watch out. Maybe the Pistons aren't who we thought they were. Okay.
Wow.
Well,
that didn't
happen. They beat the Cavs. Even though Cade Cunningham fouled out, they beat the Cavs. That was an excellent game on Friday night. Again, great games all weekend. It was a lot of fun. Then they beat the Magic pretty handily on Sunday. They're 11-3 in their last 14. We're not going to do this thing where we don't act like the Pistons are the best team in the East. Not even going to do it. I actually think it's boring to even debate that at this point. It's all, what are they going to do when we get to playoffs with the Pistons 100%. For me, right?
Yeah.
Okay. The Charlotte Hornets, on the other hand, might be good. They're 30-31. They're the 10 seed. And I want to start with them because I think that they've got a shot to make the 6th seed. As we're speaking, Joel Embiid is going to miss a few games with a strained oblique. So you got to start to worry about the Sixers sitting in that 6th seed. Look, any of the teams that are in the East play-in right now could pop out into the 6th seed. Absolutely.
And what I love about the idea of the Charlotte Hornets being, even if they end up in the 8th seed, any of these, the bottom 4, they do well. They do better on the road than they do at home. They have a winning record on the road, which they show up regardless of where they're at. Of course, we know that they have fun at home, but in the last 20 games, they're top 5 net rating. So we kind of almost have to look at like the first part of the season as like getting acclimated. And now they're rolling. And the teams that are rolling in March, it's an avalanche going into the playoffs. And that's what I feel like the momentum is definitely on the Hornets side.
It's one of those things, by the way, that their starting 5 of Moussa Diabate, Miles Bridges, LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, Concaniple, they're 18-2 when they're fully healthy this season.
There you go.
18-2. That's just, it's an absurd number to consider. And on top of the fact that they are one of the best offenses in the NBA when those 5 play together. So the offense is clicking in an incredible way. They have an identity where it's like, we are going to screen with these guards. They're going to pop out into empty space. They'll make decisions. And from that, we create everything. And I think that's helped Brandon Miller, who's an elite shooter, LaMelo Ball, who's an elite shooter, and Concaniple, who's having one of the greatest shooting seasons like ever, really. Yeah. And so it just, the formula works so well. And Charles Lee is such a great coach that finds like exactly what this team needs. Even if they don't get to that 6th seed this year, they are going to be a top 6 seed next year. Yeah. This is very clearly a team that's ready for like that pre-leap, right? Finish off the year strong, start next year even stronger. It's just, look, this is the start of something for the Hornets, right?
Look at the play-in matchups. Okay, let's say we wind up with a game between, I don't know, worst case scenario for Charlotte is Orlando, right? I think they're the best team in that group between it's Orlando, Miami, Atlanta, Charlotte. Who do you trust more in one game? I mean, frankly, like Charlotte, I know that they can score. Whether or not they're going to stop the Magic every single time, you never know. But the Magic stop themselves so often on offense that they just aren't a threat in a single game to me.
Yeah, the answer is the Hornets for me.
Yeah, they've got way more weapons. And, the Hornets have that hug you type of defense. Yeah. They can just annoy you enough to get you to feel like you're discombobulated on offense. And I think that just their energy that they would get up for that one game, I would trust them. And also, I mean, there is a real basketball sort of,
the way basketball works, maybe they wind up the 8 seed and they play the Pistons and we get that whole thing. And now we've got...
That would be beautiful.
It would be great. It would be fantastic. So that's really what we're rooting for. But I would like to see... I mean, it would be very interesting to see them push and make the 6th seed. Toronto, look, man, unserious, but way better than I thought they were going to be this season. I gotta say... You kind of hit on this in the preseason. You felt like they were a better than 500 team.
Yeah,
clearly they're that. And
we all looked at you crazy, so we did.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember.
Yep.
You know what? I'm not gloating as much as I should right now, but I'll let it cook. It's all good. Yeah.
But
I will say,
they're the
to your
5
point,
seed. I think they'll stay the 5 seed. I think that's about where they ought to be. They're just on the cusp, and maybe they're a guy away this summer from being a home court advantage team next year.
Yeah, look, I will say Jakob Poeltl has played over the last week or so, and he's actually played pretty well. So if that back issue is kind of in the rear view and he can finally play for them and play consistently, I think their complexion as a playoff team changes a little bit. Now, does that mean they're going to win a first round series? I don't know. I don't think so. I wouldn't pick them against any of the top 4 teams in the Eastern Conference. But at the same time, I think it's invaluable experience for a guy like Scotty Barnes, who doesn't have a ton of playoff experience. And we haven't seen RJ Barrett or Emmanuel Quickley that much in postseason either in these new roles. So I just think for them, to your point, you've exceeded expectations. You're playing with house money. They've already beat their over-under win total for whatever that's worth. Go out. Get some postseason basketball in your system and see what you need to add in the summer to go and take that next step.
I like the idea of, we talked about the Charlotte Hornets kind of setting up for next year, Toronto setting up for next year, but I do feel like Toronto's more advanced, like the move to get
they
BI.
Definitely are.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
the move to get BI was the next leap. So you're thinking that not winning a first round series would be acceptable for the Raptors.
I think so. Yeah. Because just based on, what we were talking about in preseason, I think most people assume that this team wouldn't make it to a top 6, right?
Sure, yeah.
Okay.
And so them being top 6, them maybe vying for home court advantage. I don't know if they'll do that because the Cavs obviously are surging right now.
Yeah.
But being in the position that they're at has exceeded expectations. I think from now it's just, this front office has to make a lot of smart moves, not maybe be aggressive in certain areas. We've talked about like Sabonis before. Make the right next move. Whatever that next move is, it has to be the right one. So, yeah.
Well, if everybody always was aggressive in the right way when they're making moves, we wouldn't have all these.
We wouldn't have a job.
Well, the Kings wouldn't exist, right?
There you go.
Okay. All right. We're saying the Pistons are the best in the East. All right. Rank the 3 other contenders that are in the East: Boston, Cleveland, and New York. Rank them for me, guys.
Zena, you want to go first?
Yeah, Boston, Cleveland, and New York. Boston's easily my number 1 if we're talking about outside of Detroit. I trust them more. I even trust them a little bit more than Detroit. Let's just be real. That East sucks. In terms of having to make this decision.
It's hard.
New York, there are nights where I'm like, oh, you're better than Detroit.
Well, not Detroit. That's the one team that I never feel that way about the Knicks.
They have
especially since they've played each other.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They haven't performed well against the Detroit, but in the sense of how they beat teams.
Yeah.
I'm going to go, you guys are going to get upset. Boston, Cleveland, New York.
Whoa. All right. Not necessarily upset, but I see it.
Mm-hmm. Honestly, I have the exact same list.
I feel the same way. Watching the Knicks beat the Spurs on Sunday. I just, because I don't see how they can consistently work around Brunson and Cat on defense. I just don't know what the fix is there for that. Mitchell Robinson is fantastic. But he can't play 35 minutes a night.
And he's also very important for them. How are you going to rely on a guy that plays 15 to 20 minutes a night? Yeah. In a playoff series consistently? I don't know the answer to that, right?
So what I talk about, looking at New York, on some nights they look better than Detroit, is they have Jalen Brunson.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
They
have a team that can score. They have a guy that can put you on a 19 straight point run, right? 11 points in a quarter. And when Cade is not available, we don't know who that is in Detroit.
Right.
Right. And yeah, Jalen can put up some points, but not consistently get him the ball move, like unassisted buckets. And so that's the only reason why I'm like, in New York, whatever. But then beyond just being able to score, if they can't score, what else they got? Yeah. And that's where I struggle.
Well, that's going to be the thing, the one thing we're got to worry about with the Pistons. What happens on the games that they don't shoot? I mean, again, in the Cavs game the other night, they were 22% from three, 6 of 27. All right. You mentioned what do they do when Cade Cunningham isn't out there? Well, he fouled out in that game.
And that's a new concern.
It out on the fly, right?
This is a new concern that's starting to pop up. What happens when Cade keeps getting in foul trouble? Yeah. Because he's so aggressive on both sides of the ball. Like, they've got to find a way to protect him a little bit on that.
No, that's a great point.
Tatum did not come back on Sunday. Okay.
That's the big question.
Is he coming back?
Yeah.
They keep saying that he looks good. Look, we're going to have Jay King on the show tomorrow, and I'm going to ask him about this. I don't know what the expectations should be. Does Tatum coming back, does that factor in for you guys with having them second?
Absolutely.
1,000%.
Zena kind of hinted at this of like trusting Boston even more than Detroit. I think part of that is the Tatum equation, like knowing in the back of your head that there's this guy who's first team All NBA, was fifth in MVP voting last year that could come. Is he going to be that version? I doubt it. It would shock me if he's that version. But if you can get even 60% of something like that, you've added a wildly talented player on your team. If he assimilates to kind of like a role player, maybe higher than a role player type of role, you're just like getting a very, very talented player who's also an excellent rebounder, who's also an excellent defender, and he can bring all these ancillary aspects that the Celtics really need. I don't know. I think for me, if I had to answer this question, and it's funny because we started this segment saying the Pistons are the best team in the East. Right. I agree with you. But if Tatum comes back, I'm picking the Celtics to win it in the East.
The thing about Tatum, regardless of however he comes back, he takes up mental space. And it's funny because you saw this against yesterday watching the Nuggets game against the Timberwolves of that on off with Jokic. When Jokic comes back on the floor, Jamal Murray goes off for few quick buckets. Right. Yeah. It's the mental space within the defensive mind to know, Jason Tatum's on the floor.
That's a great point.
He might not be Jason Tatum from whatever, but Jason Tatum is on the floor. We have got to do
Tatum
something.
On the jersey.
Exactly. So we have to allocate a bit of our energy, some level of our energy to him. And what does that do? Open up Derek White, open up Jaylen Brown, open up Peyton Pritchard, open up whoever. And that is more than anything, I think, the value that I always trust because it's equity built in. Yeah. The equity in Jason Tatum being
Stock
Jason Tatum.
Markets and equity. Look at this.
Look at this. Yeah. Get your finances here. Get your NBA daily
we do it all,
updates.
Baby.
We're doing everything, guys. All right, that's going to do it for the show. Thank you guys for listening. Don't forget, give us a 5-star review. Go and subscribe to the YouTube. Don't forget, we do the morning shoot around on Wednesdays, the live show where we take Q&A. We have a pretty good time over there. For Zena Keita and Baraheni, I'm Dave DuFour, and this has been the NBA Daily. Thanks for hanging out with us.